Well, come on along and welcome, and thanks a lot for taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Jim Coyle with you as always. Got Jake at the wheel. Hope your day's off to a good start. But hopefully we get ahead in that direction. Great program on the way as always. Today, Matt Weaver from Peaks.com will join us. We'll get up to date on what's going on all things football. We'll also talk with CNHI's IU beat writer Kevin Brockway. We'll catch up with Kevin about a lot of different things. A lot of stuff to talk about today. Iowa now adds gambling to their roster, so Indiana's now not the only state in the Midwest with gambling, although it's Iowa will not have sports gambling on college, so difference there. Indiana baseball with a huge game last night against Louisville. Goes 12 innings. Indiana's second straight extra inning game. They went 11 innings on the Sunday finale with Michigan. Did not come out a winner in that one. Same would be the case last night as Louisville ends up beating Indiana 8-7 in 12 innings. Unbelievable long game. Man, it was rough. It was definitely a long, long night. Tim's already hit us up on the text line. One hell of a game last night, 12 innings, and I don't even watch baseball. I'll be honest with you. I wish I would watching that one live because, oh my gosh, it was long. Indiana down 6-0 in that game, and it did not look good. Did not look good early as I think the second inning, Louisville put 2 on the board. I think it was the third inning. They come back with 3 more. And they were off to the races. Eventually, they built that lead to 6-0 before Indiana would get untracked. And they hung 5 in an inning. I can't remember if it was the 4th inning, something like that. And flirted with, and then finally tied the game. But can't get it done. And we'll hear from Coach Jeff Mercer as he was not happy with his team's performance last night. Some middle gaffes that really irked him. This time of the year, Indiana's about to finish the season. I mean, Louisville's the top. They're 7th. They're a top-ranked team, man. They'll be hosting. They'll be a super regional host. But Coach Jeff Mercer not happy with some of the mistakes his team is making at this time of year. As this weekend, Indiana will be fighting for a Big Ten title. You know, that's the only caveat with Indiana's. When they do things like they did last night, they usually bounce back in a good way. They need to sweep Rutgers, and they need help from Nebraska as they'll be hosting Michigan this weekend. They need Nebraska to take at least 2 games for Michigan to have a shot at winning that Big Ten title before heading off to the Big Ten tournament in Omaha, Nebraska. We'll see how that turns out. Hopefully they can get that done. But Coach Jeff Mercer was not happy at all with his well, I shouldn't say that, but he wasn't happy with it. Was just the mental mistakes. There was the winning run that Louisville scored. They had the guy out at home probably by 15 feet, and there was a hesitation of looking to make a different play before attempting to get him out at home. And that's what I'm talking about. Early on there was a miscue out in the outfield, and this is like the second inning, I think. And I don't think that particular player made it to the plate for their batting appearance before they were taken out because of that. Coach Mercer sending a message that I bet you it was obviously received. because that was early on, and the Hoosiers were already down to the Cardinals, and they would fight to come back soon after he made that move. Hit us up on the text line with whatever you're thinking today, 812-269-6367. Kevin Brockway, the IU beat writer from CNHI Papers, has joined us. We'll talk about a myriad of things: recruiting, sports gambling. The Indianapolis 500 is coming up. A lot of things going on up and around Indianapolis tied to the 500. Let us know where your thoughts are. Great program yesterday. Actually, it's been great for the last 2 weeks. Have just been phenomenal. Jordan Hull's on with us. Appreciate him joining us. Don't forget about the Jordan Hull's Academy basketball camp coming up. That's at Bloomington South High School, June 19th through the 21st. I need to get Jake to put that information up on the website. But feel free to look that up. I think it's grades 2 through 5 and 6 through 11. It's $100 for the younger ones, $125 for the older ones. Jordan Hull's recently just named MVP from FIBA, Germany. You know, when he was on, I meant to mention the fact that, you know, it reminds me a lot of Mitchell Page, who many said that you can't do this. You're not fast enough. You're not big enough. You're not tall enough. You're not whatever. Mitchell Page proved him wrong. He was the MVP last year over in Europe. Broke record after record. Led category after category. Jordan Hull's doing the same thing. You know, I've seen a few posts lately of who's the greatest three-point shooter in IU history. I'm going to bring that up to Todd Leary on Friday. Nobody better to ask. Pretty damn good shooter himself on a pretty damn good team, a pretty good shooting team. I've got my thoughts. There are two that I think, actually there are three that, and possibly four, but man, I've got a top three, and I'll put them in order. Put your top three together. Top three all-time three-point shooter for Indiana. Have it. Be ready to back it up, though. This is not just favorite players. This is need to back it up. So that ought to be pretty fun. Looking forward to talking to Matt Weaver from Peaks.com. Get caught up on football today. And Kevin Brockway. Stay tuned. We've got plenty more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We'll be back with more right after this from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios.
Don't let it go.
Hello,
everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Hey sports fans, this is Lily King. Make sure you tune in to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Jim Coyle with you here, Indiana Sports Beat, and we are grateful to be joined by a good friend of the show, Jordan Halls. Jordan, how you doing, man?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Doing great. Jordan is still over in Germany, recently fresh off of being minted the MVP over there. Congratulations, by the way. That's a heck of an honor.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's luckily I had a lot of Indiana fans voting me in, and but yeah, it was a great year. In the international play-in and BBL. Very thankful for that honor, and good to see the hard work paying off.
Yeah, you were the only player to pull up a couple of awards, but you got 40% of the vote for that, man. That was a landslide. So it's not just a couple of IU fans. There's just a lot of people voting for you. That's a landslide victory.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a great year for us. I had a great team who got me the ball when I was in good position to do different things, and the system that I play in. And like I said, it was a great year shooting the ball, and hopefully I can keep that going forward. But yeah, we made it all the way to the finals. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to finish the finals. I played the first game, but missed the rest of it with a season-ending injury. But yeah, to get that award is pretty special, and like I said, I'm very very thankful for that, and couldn't have done it without the fans, of course, and the team and all that kind of stuff.
Well, there's a reason your teammates get you the ball. You're only shooting 49% behind the arc, so they're I guess they're not too they're pretty smart in that regard. Because man, I know a certain college team that could use some shooting like that.
I think a lot of college teams could maybe use something like that, but ours in particular, maybe so as well. But yeah, it's like a great shooting year, and if I can just keep doing that, that's how I make my money. And being from Indiana, and that kind of helps me, I guess, growing up being able to shoot. But yeah, it was a great year.
Well, and what's it like being, you're obviously from Bloomington, Indiana, but it's not like you've been hidden away in the sticks, but to live in a foreign country, to not only to make your living in a foreign country, to live in a foreign country and to make your way over there, your family and all that, that's got to be quite an adjustment.
Oh yeah. I mean, Germany is a great place for us to live. We really love it here. This is my 6th season, which is kind of hard to believe. And, yeah, when you have to totally uproot your family and go to a new country and new surroundings, new teammates, new everything, it's kind of scary in the beginning, of course. But I've played in Poland, I've played in Kosovo, Belgium, and now Germany. I've been here for 3 years, and it's you take a lot of different things from different countries. But this has been a great place for us to live. We feel safe here, healthcare here. We had our second son here early in March. So it's very comforting, when my family feels comfortable and we're surrounded by good people, that's all I can ever ask for. So on the court stuff is always good to have when that's going well too. But as long as my family's happy, and because it's hard, my wife has to make a huge sacrifice leaving her family, which is now my family, back home, and we're a long way away from our friends and family for an extended amount of time. So it's a huge sacrifice for them. So when they're happy, I'm happy as well.
Now, there's a lot of former Hoosiers playing in various teams in Europe. Are there any that are in your league or that you get to play against?
Nobody from IU per se, but a lot of Indiana kids over here for sure, man. It's unbelievable the amount of Indiana kids who have a lot of talent and wanted to pursue their basketball careers. After college, Braden Hobbs is a kid from Southern Indiana that I grew up playing AAU ball with, and he plays in this league. Jake Odom was in this league last year. Chris Kramer from Purdue. We have tons and tons of other Indiana talent here, which just makes you realize how small of a world basketball is.
Yeah, Braden Hobbs from New Albany High School actually went to Bellarmine. I think won a Division II national championship at Bellarmine.
For sure, yeah, he was. He stayed close to home. He's a high caliber player, and he's playing on the best team in Germany right now. Doing what he does, making other people better, shooting the ball well. What Indiana kids are supposed to do. He's had an amazing career, and he's only about 2 hours from me, so we met up. Once this season, but he's a pretty busy guy with our schedules and stuff like that. But yeah, he's doing really well.
Yeah, the thing about Europe is you just jump on a train, you can be in about 10 different countries within an hour. Everything just shoots, so it's so weird.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like if we want to go to Ohio, it's like us going to Paris. Whenever my family comes and visits, or friends, whoever it may be. It's pretty cool to be able to say, yeah, we can just hop in the car, go 5 hours, and we're in Paris, France, or we'll go to. One year we went to Normandy, France, when I played in Belgium, like all sorts of things, and pretty unique opportunity while we're still young, fairly young. we have 2 kids now, but we still get to travel around and see the world. And my 2-year-old son, he's learning German. He's in German school, so it'll be cool once we're back stateside that he'll be able to tell his friends, I grew up in Germany, and then his little brother was born in Germany, and we got to travel the world, for this extended amount of time that we're over here.
Yeah, you're already giving them stories that they don't even know that they're going to have to tell 10, 15 years from now, 20 years from now. These are stories that they're going to get to tell, that they're developing. They don't even know that yet.
Exactly. It's really cool as a parent just to be able to give them that opportunity. And like I said, it doesn't come without sacrifice, being away from their grandparents and stuff like that, but cousins, aunts, uncles, all that kind of stuff. But it's in the grand scheme of things, it's a short amount of time compared to the rest of our lives. So if we can make these memories now and continue to build relationships elsewhere and then settle back home, that would be a pretty cool thing for us.
I promise you, it goes fast, brother. My daughter's 16th birthday is today, so we're celebrating her birthday today. I'm looking forward to that. But
oh wow!
I
Tell
can't
her happy birthday for sure.
We'll do that. But yeah, it goes so fast. But also, when you were playing at Bloomington South High School, did you ever dream that you would be making a good living and playing around the world and get to go to these awesome countries and do things? Was that even a dream at that time?
Man, I've always wanted to play professional basketball. When I was that young, though, I never even realized you could come over to Europe and play basketball and make good money and play at a high level. NBA was always my dream, will always be my dream. And growing up, that's all I ever cared about was, getting my schoolwork done and then getting back in the gym and trying to be the best player that I could. So it's kind of a surreal feeling to know that, I'm living out my dream. I don't have to do a 9-to-5 job or anything like that at the moment. So it's something that I cherish. And every day I go into practice, I got to remind myself to be thankful for the opportunity because you never know how long you'll be able to play. And I've been blessed enough to play 6 seasons, and I signed back here for a 1+1. So probably 2 more years here. And so if I can just keep playing as long as the wheels are going and I'm shooting the ball well and my wife lets me, I'll play until that day.
And also, you don't not just playing, but you give back. And we've got something coming up, the JH1 Skills Academy, which is your skills academy. You've got your camps that are coming up at Bloomington South High School, not that far away in June 19th and 21st. You've got it set up for grades 2 through 5. It is only $100, and grades 6 to 11 is $125. But that's got to be a great feeling for you too, to be able to, because these kids, they look up to you. I mean, you're a former Bloomington South athlete, you're a former IU athlete, and now a professional basketball player. I mean, you're someone that they idolize, and to be able to touch their lives. I'm sure you had people that when you were their age that did that for you, but it's got to be awesome to be in that position.
No question. It's always been something I've been passionate about, giving back to the community and impacting lives, and not just on the court, but off the court as well. I feel like I could be a good example. I'm not the biggest, the tallest, the strongest, or the best at anything really, except I could control how hard I worked and the effort I put into it and those kind of things. So those are the kind of things I try to tell the kids, whether that's if they do want to play basketball or baseball or whatever sport, or be a doctor, lawyer, teacher, whatever it is, if you can take the game of basketball and take from it the teamwork aspect, the hard work aspect, all those different characteristics into your real life, then I think I've been able to make an impact that way. And I've been fortunate enough to do this every year that I've been a pro, that I've been able to do the camp. So I do it every summer in my hometown, and like you said, just trying to reach as many kids as possible, different age groups, different skill levels, doesn't matter, boys, girls. If you're able to come, then we'd be more than happy to have you there. We try and make it more of a skills camp as opposed to just rolling the ball out there and playing. So I emphasize a lot of skill work, 6 different stations where we specifically try and teach the fundamentals of basketball, because I think that's what kids are missing these days. To just go out there and chuck up three-pointers and hope it goes in, and don't have correct form or correct passing form, or don't even know how to box out properly. Those kind of things are what I try and teach. And I have a great coaching staff, and I'm able to have my family involved as well, with my dad, my sisters, my mom, my wife, everybody's involved. So it's a fun thing for me, and I look forward to it every summer. I wish I had more time to do more camps all over the state, but I just haven't gotten to that point yet. But maybe once I'm done playing, or my kids are a little bit more grown, then I'll be able to do something like that.
And talk about the 3-point shot, one of your specialties, obviously. News looks like it's going to, in the NCAA level, it's going to move back to the international line. You think that's good for the game, helpful? You think that's helpful for the game, or is that getting the college game more in step with the international level, or how do you see it impacting college?
Yeah, I didn't realize that rule was going to go into place. I mean, there's always going to be pros and cons to each thing. If you look at the 3-point percentage, I don't know this off the top of my head, but I'd be curious to know what is the 3-point percentage in this era as opposed to what it was when it was closer. And is that really improving the game of basketball? Everybody is already relying on the 3-point shot so heavily anyway. I mean, for shooters, I don't think if you move it back, if it's really gonna change how you shoot your shot or anything like that, form wise, or if you move it 2 feet back, for me, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. But that's very interesting that they're doing that to get guys ready for the next level, perhaps, and to shoot more threes or space the floor more. I don't want to talk into it if I haven't done my research on it though, but
right. And it's not a set rule. It's not set to go into place yet. It's a proposal, I believe, but it probably is more than likely that is one that's going to be taking effect. For the last couple of years, they've used the NIT as kind of a guinea pig. They this year they moved it back in the NIT. They moved the 3-point line back. They also used the wider international lane this year. That's not a proposal expected to be made, but now that's one I thought would be more helpful, is to open up the lane a little bit. But
yeah, that would definitely make it more exciting, because I mean,
it's definitely the college game is changing a little bit.
Exactly. I mean, if you want to try and make the game more universal, where it's the same all over the place, then for sure. The NBA is just in a different level of its own. But when you get over here in Europe, it's not like you have defensive 3 seconds or anything like that. But there is the different rules where you can tap the ball off the rim once it hits, and you can go in the lane early, intentional foul, like all these little different things. What I would like the college game is to just go back to quarters. I think that would be. I still don't understand why we do halves. I'm sure there's a lot more behind it than what I understand, but I think everybody else uses quarters. I don't understand why college basketball in the men's side doesn't use quarters, and reset the fouls after 5 or whatever, and take away with the 1-on-1. But 1-on-1 does propose a different exciting element to the game, to it in the games and stuff like that. But I mean, like I said, there's pros and cons to everything.
I think that's something you'll probably see, Jordan, because that's another rule I think that they toyed with in the NIT this year. So we'll probably maybe see more of that next year. But have you had a chance to follow the college game at all? I know there was huge news yesterday. John Beilein, after 12 years, leaving Michigan to go to the Cavs. That's big news for the Big Ten, for college basketball overall. But that's kind of a shock.
Yeah, definitely. I saw that tweet, and when the information leaked out, and one side of me is really shocked because he's had so much success at Michigan, and I know he's a great coach, and he's done a great job there. But on the other hand, he's proven a lot at the college level, so maybe he wants to see what he can do at the pro level. And with all the stuff going on around college basketball, maybe he wanted to just get a different look, different feel. He didn't agree with what was going on, or he just saw. Obviously, I'm just spitballing here. I have no idea, but I'm happy for him because I've always respected him and what he's done and what he's been able to accomplish. And for the Big Ten, I think we're losing a great coach as a conference, someone who provided a pro style offense. So I think he'll be able to translate that over pretty well.
Well, the funny thing is, the big talk is they have two recruits that are both big-time shooter scorers that are possibly going to be coming available, and there's a certain school that has 2 open scholarships and a dire need of shooting and scoring, located pretty close to Bloomington. So I think they're going to be pretty interested in those 2 players.
Well, heck yeah. I mean, anytime you can get a high recruit who can shoot the ball, and if that's something that we struggled with, that'd be great if we could land something like that. And yeah, that's I guess that's good for us if that's a potential thing that can happen.
Jordan, I can't thank you enough for joining us, man. I know you're coming back soon stateside. You got your camps coming up in June. We'll look forward to keep everybody updated on that. We'll get that stuff on our social media pages as well. But thank you so very much. Safe travels to you and your family coming back, and look forward to talking to you when you get back over here.
Sounds great. I really appreciate you having me on and getting information about my camp. And again, be sure to wish your daughter a happy birthday.
Thank you very much, Jordan. I'll do that, brother. Thank you very much. Jordan Halls joins us here on the Indiana Sports Beat. We'll be back with plenty more from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
But I just can't reach them. Oh, how high they are. I got to believe what I'm saying can't come true.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. It's Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us research program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Hi, this is AJ Moye, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to the Golf Club Eagle Point Studios. Indiana Sports Beat. Jim Coyle with you as always. Hope your day's off to a good start. Matt Weaver from Peaks.com will join us later. We'll talk some football. There's a little news there. Indiana continuing to hit the recruiting market. CNHI's IU beat writer Kevin Brockway will be with us as well. Saw Kevin at the baseball game last night also. He was out there. But plenty to talk about there. Iowa adds sports gambling. They become the 11th state in the country to do so, second in the Midwest. But theirs is going to be different. Apparently, they're not going to have gambling on college games, so it's not quite as extensive as the one passed by Indiana. And we'll talk to Kevin about that. He had a good piece on that. The biggest issue seems to be betting on the in-game bets, the prop bets. We'll talk about all that. The NBA lottery pick is determined. There will be no Zion in New York unless something happens, a trade, as New Orleans shocks everybody. I think they had just a 6% chance of getting the top spot pick, and they managed to do that. So, and I noticed that Zion was quickly ushered out of the proceed. He was there last night. He's been expecting to go to New York, and he's been, I think, really kind of wanted to do that. Not sure he's all excited about going to have some gumbo.
I was going to say, wait till he has some gumbo or some shrimp and grits or just anything down there.
Well, will it change Anthony Davis has been trying to get out of New Orleans. Will that change his mind? We'll see.
He's stated that he still wants to trade.
Not good for New Orleans. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to see him demand that, hey, I don't want to come there, whatever. They have that. They have that power now. Hey, before the last break, I started talking about pick your top 3-point shooters in IU history. I've seen a lot lately, but Tim texted in his picks. A.J. Guyton, Yogi Ferrell, and Jordan Hulls, his top 3 3-point shooters. Joker hits us up with his A.J. Guyton, Jordan Hulls, and Greg Graham. He throws the percentages in. Here are my picks. Whoops. My picks are number 3. I'm going with Steve Alford. He only got to shoot the 3-pointer one season. He was 53% in that season. 53%. Number 2, I'm going with Jay Edwards. Jay Edwards, 2 seasons, 48%, 2 seasons, including one season at 53.6% from 3. Those guys have shot 50%, I'm telling you. But my number 1 pick, and golly, if he didn't have to deal with injuries, because he is the purest shooter I think I've ever seen. Pat Graham from Floyd Central. Pat Graham, if I'm correct, the 1993-94, I think, shot 59%. The dude was just an artist. He shot 3-pointers like he was 2 feet from the basket. It was just, you talk about feathery. That man's jump shot was feathery, as was Jay Edwards. Just the way those shots went down, but also Jay Edwards, though, man, he could do so much. That dude could create off the dribble. He is clutch. He hit some clutch shots. and just unbelievable shooters. But I'm looking forward to asking Todd Leary this on Friday. So maybe we'll keep that in for Friday. Those are my 3 picks. I'll look forward to. I'll give Todd a heads up. I'll tell him, give me your top 3 picks for Friday. You know, everybody talks about Brad Stevens leaving Boston. Boston has the numbers 14, 20, and 22 picks coming up in the NBA draft, by the way. That's 3 first-rounders. Got a text in asking if for Jerome Hunter update. I've heard nothing here. I mean, other than the last I've heard, he's progressing. But there's no, I don't expect it. They're not going to release anything. They've been very tight-lipped about this the whole time. Even when he was going through this injury, it was a long, long time before word really leaked out about what it was. So I don't expect to hear a lot on this. They're just being very cautious with it. Some of it has to do with HIPAA laws, which I'm like, yeah, I get it. But you know what? How often in sports do you see anybody cite HIPAA laws? I mean, they generally will come out and say what it is, unless it's something that's going to affect them from a financial standpoint, if they're going pro or whatnot. But that would be that's a key piece that Indiana could have next season on the basketball court. He's a big piece that they were missing last year. It would certainly be good for the Hoosiers if they had him back. That would solve some of the shooting and scoring woes that they endured. Indiana baseball loses last night in 12 innings to number 7 Louisville. Wasted a great rally. They were down 6-0. They spotted Louisville 6 runs before they got on the board. Come all the way back to tie it, only to watch it go away by some mental mistakes. We caught up with Coach Jeff Mercer afterwards in what seemed like just 10 minutes ago that took place. But let's hear what Coach Mercer had to say.
That's tough to come back twice and tie it up twice and then have a getaway like that.
Yeah, I mean, the reality of it is we didn't play very, very well, really. I would say this, I thought we pitched well. Did a really good job. Had some young guys in there that
against a good lineup.
Against a good lineup that they haven't pitched a ton, whether it be injuries or better for whatever reason. That it was kind of their turn. Obviously after this weekend playing a bunch and so we had some young guys in there, which was exciting, and our pitching did a really good job. You see the growth of those guys. Velo's up and commanding the zone a lot better, and they've just gotten so much better. And so, I was just really disappointed in our infield play and just things that we haven't done in a long time. Just knucklehead things we haven't done in a long time. Not anticipating plays, not communicating, and the reality of it is like that's their offense. They slap on the ground. They try to just kind of beat ground balls out and run, and that's fine if that's the way they're going to play offense. But they knew that coming into it. It's not like it was a great shock, and we were just not very good, and really in any area besides pitching, which I thought did a good job. Mm-hmm.
I guess that was it, Coach Mercer. I had a little trouble hearing him there. He was not happy. He was not happy at all. I mean, we usually don't have to wait a long time after a game, and last night wasn't terrible, but they were in the locker room for a while before he came out, and you could tell he was subdued. Just wasn't happy with his team's play. I mean, they've done a lot of good things lately. They won the series up in Michigan, lost the final game in 11 innings. They took Louisville to 12 innings last night before giving that one up. They've got a big 3-game series with Rutgers to close out the regular season and a shot at winning the Big Ten championship if they can get some help from Nebraska as the Michigan Wolverines travel to Lincoln this weekend. Nebraska had lost 3 straight Big Ten series, but they won last week against Arizona State, a ranked opponent, coached by former Hoosier coach Tracy Smith. So hopefully they can get that assistance. But talking about that baseball game, Jeff Mercer talked about those mistakes that cost his team the game afterwards. Let's hear what he had to say.
Really good job.
You come off a big weekend with a big series win, but of course now you're fighting for the Big Ten title, and the things that happen here tonight that are kind of upsetting, that's not where you want your team to be when you're heading into that kind of a challenge this weekend.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I thought we were past those things. Not communicating at first base on the chopper there in the early, and then first base just playing in front of the runner before we could even grab him and scoot him back. A ball that doesn't get out of the infield drops, and the play late with the guy on first and third, and guys out by 15 feet at home, and we turn to second, and Kate hasn't played a lot of first base, but just a baseball play, and just those little things that, again, things that bother me, we not breaking down after we get to first base, not swinging through a take sign, or just not paying attention to those pieces. I don't know, if you look at it, and I told guys, as a young man, your maturation process into a man, into an adult, is being accountable for your decisions and your actions every day, not just on the days that you feel like it, not just on the days when you're feeling good. Doesn't matter if you're tired, doesn't matter what just happened last weekend, what you're looking forward to next weekend, is it's each and every day. Like you don't get to go out and not live to the standard that you're expected to live by. So, that's the thing. I think that's the frustrating thing for me is like our inability to be able to go out and just follow a plan, execute to a plan, and be intelligent and do the things that we've been taught to do, and honestly things that we haven't done in such a long time. It's like I don't know, as you take responsibility for your actions, like how do we allow ourselves to take such a step back? And obviously that's my job, and I haven't done a good enough job of making sure that those things we're accountable for those things and understand that, and we'll have to go back to work tomorrow and make sure that we're ready to go, and understanding that, as of right now, we're going to be in the Big Ten tournament, right? And that's all that's really promised to you, and you have to go and work from there. But like you're getting ready to start an entire new season here in about a week, right? You're competing to win a Big Ten championship, something that hasn't happened here since 2014, maybe. Is that the last time?
That's right.
2014. So that's a good amount of time, and to be in that position, especially after we're under 500 in the first month, and all the things that we've overcome to get to this position, and then to take a step back, I have to make sure that those things don't happen, and I take responsibility for that. But that we just underperformed in a lot of different ways, and I guess to me the frustrating part about that is to look up and say, okay, that's a top 5 team in the country, and we're a top 25 team in the country, and to go into the 12th inning with stubbing our toes that many times. And it's because when we are in a position where we're focused and we're locked in and we're doing what we're supposed to do, we go out and we have a big inning and made some really nice defensive plays, executed a lot of pitches, and had some nice offensive at bats, and then we get later in the ball game, and I felt like we had selfish at bats, selfish swings, and trying to end it on one swing instead of just trying to go back and follow a plan, and follow an approach. But the optimist in me says that every opportunity is a learning opportunity, a learning experience, and hopefully I've said this a couple of times. Hopefully that's the last breath of some of those things, and we're able to work our way through that, and I have to make sure that that's the way it is.
Something tells me Coach Jeff Mercer wasn't too optimistic last night. As the optimist in him, he was not happy with his team's performance, and that's the way it should be when you demand not perfection, but when you demand excellence. And that's where he wants that program. He wants it to be excellent, which they're pretty damn good, but he wants excellence where you don't make those mistakes that cost him that game last night. And that's good. That'll benefit Indiana down the road. Hey, the NCAA is looking at allowing players to benefit from their likeness. We got to take a break. We'll talk about that in the next hour as well. Stay tuned. We got plenty more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. Matt Weaver from Peaks.com will join us. We'll talk to Kevin Brockway from CNHI, the beat writer for IU beat writer as well. Plenty to talk about. Indiana Sports Beat coming to you from the Golf Club and Eagle Point Studios. Coming back for more right after this.
Hey, little sister, what's your vice wish? Hey, little sister, shotgun, oh yeah. Hey, little sister, who's your Superman?
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This is former Indiana basketball player Greg Green. Keep up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Well, come on along and welcome aboard Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Jim Coyle with you as always. Jake's at the wheel, keeping us spinning around the track. Hope your day's off to a good start. Plenty to talk about. Matt Weaver from Peaks.com will join us. We'll talk some IU football, recruiting news. Also, Kevin Brockway, IU's beat writer from CNHI Papers, to talk with us as well. We'll talk a little bit about that gambling law and how it may affect college sports. Iowa, speaking of gambling, Iowa becomes the 11th state in the country to add sports gambling, all sports. And I'm not sure that they're going to have the prop bets, which is the biggest question that seems to be in the minds of the athletics directors and people of that sort. The NBA lottery, the Zion sweepstakes look to be heading to New York. Well, that train was derailed when it crashed into a big bowl of gumbo. New Orleans ends up with the number one pick. Only had a 6% shot of winning that. And they win the Zion sweeps. I'm not sure that was very popular, especially with Zion. He quickly was gone after that was announced, so he wasn't around to much longer after that. You know, Boston's got 3 picks in the first round. You know, everybody talking about Brad Stevens leaving. They're 14, 20, and 22. Had a question about Jerome Hunter. Any updates? I've not, and I haven't really tried to get anything new on him because I know that there's not going to be a lot coming out. IU has been very tight-lipped on that whole situation. It was forever before we even actually knew what the injury was, and that wasn't because it came from IU. So just hope to have some good news about that, but that's just something probably going to have to wait on. Indiana baseball loses a tough one last night. Top 25 matchup with number 7 Louisville as the Cardinals jumped out to a 6-0 lead. Did not look good for Indiana as they were down 5-0 after the first 3 innings. And they sent 10 guys to the plate in the first 3 innings. But, boy, they would certainly rally, come back to tie that game. It would end up going 12 innings before a couple of mental gaffes allowed Louisville to escape Bloomington with the win. The Hoosiers taking on Rutgers this weekend in a 3-game series. That begins Thursday, not Friday. That's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. As they're in competition for the Big Ten championship. They need some help from Nebraska as Michigan visits Lincoln for 3 games as well on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Nebraska had not played well in the Big Ten here of late. They lost 3 straight 3-game sets, but they rallied last week against Arizona State outside of the conference, of course, but Arizona State's one of the top programs in the country, coached by former Hoosier skipper Tracy Smith. So hopefully maybe Nebraska can give the Hoosiers a little help and they can squeeze out a Big Ten championship. Hasn't happened since 2014, as good as the program has been. So good luck to them. We'll be covering that as well, of course. Complete coverage as always. We'll talk with Matt Weaver. Tim pointed out Brian Parker, a nice recruit for Indiana. I think coming through the JUCO route, comparisons to Luke Temian and Mitchell Page, great friend of the show. You know, I meant to mention Mitchell yesterday, and he tweeted me yesterday and texted me about, and I told him, when I was talking to Jordan Hulls, it really reminded me of They reminded me of each other, their careers, how they went. Both guys early on told, hey, you're not fast enough, you're not big enough, you're not whatever to play at an upper level. Yeah, right, whatever. Jordan Hulls just named MVP FIBA Germany. Dude can shoot it lights out. Mitchell Page, he set record after record last year, led category after category in Europe. Also MVP. It just goes to show you that you don't listen to people, man. You put your talents to work and you work on your talents. Never know what's going to happen. But two shining examples in Jordan Hulls and Mitchell Page. Appreciated having Jordan on again this week. He's got his Skills Academy camp coming up. That's at Bloomington South High School, June 19th through 21st. If you got kids in the grades 2 through 11, get them signed up. It's split, I think, grades 2 through 5. It's a C note for that, and up through from 6th to 11th grade, $1.25. That sounds pretty good deal and great time for your kids. Well, we'll get that information up on our website. Jake, when you get a chance, if you can work on that. I meant to ask you that yesterday, and I failed. That was my fault.
You're right. It is your fault.
I gladly accept that. I take that crown and wear it heavily. I mentioned earlier, before I forget, IU women's basketball playing in the 2019 Paradise Jam in the Virgin Islands. I'm going to have to work on covering that, Jake. I'm going to have to work on that.
Be a pretty sweet gig.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. Wouldn't be bad. But it will afford the Hoosiers the opportunity to play some big-time talent. South Carolina, Baylor. I think they're already scheduled to play those teams. There's a ton of teams in this thing. I think like 16 teams maybe. It's in late November. I'll forego Thanksgiving. That would be very thankful. I'd be very thankful to be in the Virgin Islands in November. Very thankful. I mentioned in the last hour, come up with your best three-point shooters.
In Indiana history. Not
Yeah, IU basketball three-point shooters. Bill sent his in. A.J. Guyton, he listed. A.J. Guyton, Jordan Hulls, and Greg Graham. All shot. A.J. Guyton shot 45%. And then Jordan Hulls 44, Greg Graham 43, almost basically 44%. Great, all great. And those are probably career numbers. And that's pretty damn good. But my three, and Tim also gave us his. He also mentioned A.J. Guyton, Yogi Ferrell, and Jordan Hulls. My three is Steve Alford, who only had a three-point shot for one season, but he shot 53%. That was his shot. But now they set a lot of screens for him. They gave him a lot of shooting opportunities, but he knocked him down. So he knocked him down. Dude was a shooter now. Number 2 for me, Jay Edwards. Feathery. Dude was silky smooth, man. But he was also a playmaker. He could score off the dribble. Dude was clutch. Clutch. This season, or his career, unfortunately, cut short. But my top pick is Pat Graham. That dude was just, I can see his shot in my mind right now. It was just the sweetest, most effortless, perfect-looking jump shot. All these guys had seasons of over 50%. I think Pat shot 59% in 1993. It's crazy. It's crazy. Tim asked on the text, do we have any football players that can play basketball? We used to always seem to have one back in the day. Yeah, there was always a couple. And there's always people that can't do that. But here's the thing. Sports have become so specialized, unless they are a Deion Sanders, a Bo Jackson, that just excel. Coaches want you to dedicate yourself to that sport because it's such a demanding thing. I don't know that I'm not going to say I'm not going to see that happening because there's some great athletes. But I don't expect that, no. Especially you look at basketball, the AAU, and these guys that are all, I don't expect to see that. It's these sports are just too demanding now. They become too specialized. It was kind of cool back in the day, the guys that played multiple sports, though. It was certainly enjoyable.
I remember those few games that Antoine Randall played in basketball. Hey, he was exciting, man.
Dude, he was electric. You're not lying. He was electric. People like that. Bill sent me in a snapshot of Pat Graham's shooting. 1993, 57% it was. 57%. That ain't bad. Pat had in 1990, he only shot 34%. Only shot 34%. And brought his career shooting down to 48. Now, he didn't put up as many shots as Joker points out, but that's because he was hurt. The dude was the purest shooter I've ever seen. If he didn't struggle with the foot injuries that he struggled with, holy smokes. But there's no doubt in my mind he was the best, for my money, the best pure three-point shooter. Jay Edwards, on the other hand, was almost as silky, but could do other things. Man could score off the dribble. He was a threat in a lot of ways. He was clutch. He wanted that ball in his hands. Along with Lyndon Jones, they won, 3 state titles at Marion High School? Yeah, they had a run, man. Both of those guys came to Indiana. Fun little debate there. I can't wait to pose that to Todd Leary tomorrow. Friday. Getting ahead of myself. I'm delirious. Lack of sleep. 12-inning baseball games during the week do that to you. Hey, we've got a lot more coming up. Matt Weaver from Pigs.com joins us next. We're going to talk about Brian Parker. See what Indiana's got with him. Stay tuned. We've got more coming up here from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Indiana Sports Beat back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. It's Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us research program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Hey sports fans, this is Lily King. Make sure you tune in to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Boy, you know what that sound means. The Dreamweaver, our own good friend of the show, Matt Weaver from Peaks.com, the guru of IU football. Matthew, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing okay. How are you guys?
Good, good. Hope you're having a good spring. Are we ever going to have spring? Man, this weather is killing me.
Yeah, it's it's been brutal. It looks like it's supposed to get nice this weekend, but at least up here where I live on the north side of Indy. But it's been an awful awful spring as far as weather.
It certainly has, but it hasn't been a bad spring for Coach Allen and the IU football team. Landed another guy that could be a difference maker. Brian Parker. A lot of people compare him to Luke Timian or the Mitchell Page, that kind of a receiver or offensive output.
Yeah, I mean it's a preferred walk-on, which I mean obviously, people hear walk-ons and think a guy that's not going to do much because they're not a scholarship player. But a lot of these guys, Luke Timian was a walk on. Mitchell Page was a walk on, and to say that he's going to be those guys is, it's hard to that's putting a lot on him. But I think he does have that potential. I mean, he's kind of similar in build, similar athletically. He's going to be that slot guy, and it's the best way to, I've said all the time, the best way to improve your football team is to improve the competition, and that's what this does. I mean, this makes everybody better. This kid's going to come in and he's going to come in like he is going to going to have a chance to start, and that's how he's going to perform, and that's how he's going to work, and it's going to make everybody else better on that team, whether he does or not. Even if he doesn't, a guy like that makes your team better just by the way he does stuff on the practice field and not in the games. So this is for as far as a walk on, this is a really nice pickup.
And Coach Allen has really been using that competition to try to build this team. But you look at the quarterback room; you got some great quarterbacks that will be battling, and Michael Penix and Jack Tuttle, along with the incumbent Peyton Ramsey. But that you hit the nail on the head. I mean, that's something that Indiana has not had a lot of. They didn't have that depth at position, so they didn't have that competition stirring in practice to pushing each other to get better. And without that, it's kind of hard for as a team to improve without guys pushing each other.
Yeah, and Coach, I got the chance to meet with him in his office this week, and he actually kind of talked about that a little bit, especially on the defensive side of the ball. When he came in, you had T. Gray Scales, and obviously T. Gray was a fantastic player. I mean, he was an All-American, but there was nobody behind T. Gray. And if T. Gray would have been a guy that didn't really, kind of dogged it or didn't push himself, they would have been in real trouble because they didn't have, you didn't have, the old saying, the bench is the greatest motivator. And like Coach Allen said, we didn't have anybody on the bench. Luckily T. Gray was awesome. We didn't have to worry about him, bringing it all the time. But, now, if a guy doesn't bring it, he's not playing. I mean, there's legitimate competition at every spot on this team. And, the depth's never perfect. It's probably never exactly where you want it to be, but it's as good as it's ever been in Indiana, at least what I can remember on both sides of the ball. As far as each position and O-line, maybe have a few more guys. But, all in all, the depth on this team is really been improved dramatically.
Yeah, if you listen to the show, I was one of the first people to really question the hire of Tom Allen when that was done, but man, I'm also been the first person to praise what he has done, especially on the recruiting side. It's phenomenal. It's a great story at Peaks.com. Go check that out, in which Matt sat down with Coach Allen and talked about a lot of different things. Talks about how the recruiting pitch is resonating, because obviously it is. They're killing it on the recruiting trail. But he tells a couple stories, especially one with Tywone Mullen, that really was really cool. And it really explains on these guys that are coming in from outside of Indiana that don't have a connection to Indiana, to the school, to the university in any way, but yet are really connecting to the program and to the school.
Yeah, and for people, the Tywone Mullen story, he visited, and I think this was probably one of his official, I don't know if it's official or unofficial, but when Coach Allen was hired, he mentioned 50, 26, and 10, because that was in 2017. 50 years since Indiana had been in a Rose Bowl, 26 years since they'd won a bowl game, and 10 years since they'd had a winning record. And Tywone came in, and they were in his office, and he asked him for a piece of paper, and he wrote down those numbers, and told Coach Allen, we're going to do all three of these things when I'm here. And then he signed it and dated it and committed to him. And this isn't a kid that, didn't have offers. I mean, Tywone Mullen is one of the top defensive backs in the state of Florida, which means you're one of the top defensive backs in the country, because if you're one of the best players in Florida, you're one of the best players in the country. I mean, this is a really good player. I mean, he's a heck of a player. I've gotten to know Tywone a little bit through the recruiting process, and he has become one of my favorite guys that I've ever dealt with. He is a great kid. I think he's going to be special. And on and off the field, I think this is going to be one of these guys that Indiana fans are just going to love to root for, because the way he plays and the way he'll represent the university. And they did a great job recruiting him. And obviously comes from a good family. His older brother got drafted, last month. He's got a younger brother who I've heard is they think that could be better than both of his older brothers, which is saying a lot because they're both really good. So athletic family and great kid, great work ethic, and I just can't you can't say enough good things about Taiwan. Well, is he going to struggle at times as a player? Sure he is, but tell you what, he is going to be. I think he's going to be a heck of a player for the Hoosiers.
And to point that out, recently Coach Allen goes to Detroit and steals one from Michigan and some other big time programs as well. And so that is really moving forward. And you also point out in a great piece, like you said, go to Peaks.com and see Matt's piece on this where he sits down with Coach Allen. But flipping Samson James, they go to Ohio State last year. They get beat by Ohio State. He had committed to Ohio State. He's an Indiana kid. And after that game, he flips to Indiana, which – man, that's still one of the things that sticks out to me. I'm like, how do you go lose to a team where this kid's committed, a top program, and get that guy to flip? It's just a pretty daggone impressive recruiting job.
Yeah, well, and what that tells me is, one game a lot of times I don't think has a big. I would guess that obviously Samson had been thinking about that for a little while. And maybe when he went over that weekend, I don't know, maybe whatever conversations he had with Ohio State, maybe it kind of solidified the fact that in his mind he wanted to go somewhere else and go to Indiana. And that's another thing in the story that Coach Allen and I've said this on the Peaks board for years. It is easier in a lot of cases for Indiana to get a high 3-star, even a 4-star kid from the southern part like Florida or somewhere than it is to get one from Indiana, because kids in this state are growing up with the old thing that Indiana's not any good and why would you go there. It's kind of battered in their head, but down there that's not how the IU's viewed. They're viewed as, hey, it's a Big Ten school, that's big time, that's a great opportunity. So you got to still change that perception in state. I think they're doing it. They're definitely doing it. It's easier to recruit in state than it was obviously 5-10 years ago, but they still got some barriers to break through. And the only way you're going to do that, quite honestly, is to win some games on the field, make some bowl games, and then that'll change that perception. But this staff is doing it. They're doing a great. I mean, we talk about it. They are doing a fantastic job. You're not going to win every recruiting battle. In fact, you're going to lose more than you win. And that's the way it should be. If you're hearing yes more than you're hearing no, you're not recruiting the right players. I think Bill Self said that, and he's 100% correct. So, but they're going to win their fair share. And obviously the 2019 class was terrific, and the 2020 class is off to a really good start.
Yeah, it's amazing when you have to go away from home to have more success. But you talked about that perception. But not only are they going away from home, they're going to some pretty hotbed recruiting places. I mean, they're drawing from some good places in the South. Of course, Coach Allen's got relationships from previous stops down there. They've really worked the Florida angle, which tons of talent comes out of the South. But for them to have such a higher standing down there, it's almost funny. But like you said, those guys have no perception. They don't see Indiana in this light of that light. Actually, they see him very highly. And so, but these guys are all looking forward to being a part of this change. It seems like they want to be a part of changing the Indiana football program. And you can't buy that kind of backing.
No, that's
no pun intended.
I think that's what attracted Samson James. That's what attracted Taiwan Mullen. That's what attracted Rashawn Williams, the guy that's committed for the 20 class. But that's probably the case for a lot of other guys. Going in and I get why a guy would want to go to a big school that's been winning, and you just kind of they put you in there and they plug you in and they keep winning. But some guys kind of want to be that guy that does something that's maybe never been done or turn something around and build something up, from, where it was to make it really successful. And, that appeals to some guys. That doesn't appeal to everybody. And that's fine. You got to find the right guys for your program. And, that's what this staff has done. And they're not just finding guys who want to do that. They're finding guys who have legit options. It's not like Indiana was their best. In basically almost every case, it wasn't like Indiana was their best option or their only Power 5 or Big Ten option. These guys have a lot of options. They can go. Obviously we're talking about the big name guys, but if you go through the class, all these guys had options. I mean, they could have played at some other good schools, and they chose the Indiana for whatever their reason was, and it just shows how well not just Coach Allen but his staff it's a really good recruiting staff. I mean, they're the foot soldiers. They do kind of all the grunt work, and obviously the plan comes down from him. But without them, this wouldn't be possible. And then obviously he's kind of the closer, as all head coaches are. But they work great together. They recruit as an entire staff. These players get to know everybody. And they really they practice what they preach: the family atmosphere, the relationships, and all that kind of stuff. They live it. They just don't talk it. And I think that's as he said, that kind of stuff resonates with these recruits and their families.
Everything is important when it comes to recruiting, including window dressing. And IU is going to have some new digs. They really upgraded their locker rooms for the upcoming season, something that the basketball program was able to do and some other programs. But now the football team's getting into it, catching up, and looks pretty nice.
Yeah, he had, and I think there might be some. I think there might be some drawings online somewhere, renderings, and they're probably not. Those were I think some of those were initial, so there'll be some slight changes or tweaks. But he had all these on these stands, all these pictures in his office, and it looks fantastic. And from somebody who knows what the locker room looked like a number of years ago as a manager, and to see it now, it's night and day. I mean, you're talking basically they went from a high school locker room when I was there. I mean, they had metal lockers. I mean, it was not good. And it's been proof since then, but this new locker room, this has now put you on par with basically your peers, a lot of your peers in the conference, the teams that you need to be on par with. And it looks like it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be spacious. And then it's not only just a locker room. They're going to have a team room. They're going to have I think he said they're going to have like a Pop-A-Shot and pool table, stuff like that. Stuff that those guys, when they're in there, they can hang out. I mean, that's important. That's where you build your chemistry and the team bonds, doing stuff like that. I mean, it seems, kind of trivial or not a big deal, but, you got guys hanging around and they start to form those really tight relationships and friendships and all that. And, that's when you play hard for each other. And I mean, that kind of stuff, it seems little, but it all adds up and helps build a winning team. So it looks fantastic, and kudos to Indiana. And obviously Terry Talon, the former IU player who donated a large check for it. Kudos to them for getting this done.
He's got a great piece at Peaks.com. Go check it out. Matt Weaver, man, I cannot thank you enough. We appreciate you so much, brother.
Oh, thanks for having me. Take care, guys.
You bet. Matt Weaver at Peaks.com. Check out. He met with Coach Allen this week. Hey, we've got a lot more coming up for you here on the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Beat. We've got Kevin Brockway from CNHI IU beat writer coming up next. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Hi, this is AJ Moye, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle here. Hope you're having a great day. Good friend Kevin Brockway, CNHI's IU beat writer, joins us now. Kevin, how are you, man?
Good morning.
Man, barely is it good. That was a late night at the ballpark.
23 strikeouts. It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Well, you know, that would be, it is. But, man, Indiana's had a problem with strikeouts all year. They have had multiple games with double-digit strikeouts. Now, maybe not quite that high because that is extraordinary. But, man, they have certainly – they've had a penchant for hitting home runs, but they've also, like great home run hitters, they've had a lot of strikeouts. And, man, you can't – it's amazing that they were able to do what they were doing with striking out that much.
Yeah, you know, and I think Jeff Mercer has said all along that, hey, look, this is how we're built. I mean, this is a team that we're built to hit the long ball, and you're going to, you know, sometimes you're going to take hardy swings, and that's going to happen. But credit Indiana for coming back down 6-0, you know, and forcing extra innings, even though it extended the game to 4 hours and 46 minutes. They found different ways to score. They took advantage of some mistakes. Louisville, obviously, that error was pretty big, and it opened up the floodgates for them to tie the score with those 2 runs when the third baseman dropped the ball in the pickoff play.
Yeah, and of course, an error on Indiana's part, a mental error, I guess you'd say, allowed that winning run for Louisville to get across late when they could have made the play at home, and they don't get that done. And Indiana or Louisville ends up going on to win that game 8-7 in 12 innings. Indiana's second consecutive game going at least 11 innings. Hopefully they don't do that anymore with the 3 games coming up this weekend against Rutgers. Indiana, I mentioned it earlier, they're going to need some help as the Michigan Wolverines travel to Lincoln, Nebraska to take on the Cornhuskers. Nebraska had lost 3 straight Big Ten series, But last weekend they had an out of conference series with Arizona State, a top program in the country, and ironically coached by Tracy Smith, IU's former coach. But they come out of there with a series win over them, so hopefully they can get two out of the three from Michigan to give Indiana some help. And Indiana, of course, they have to take care of business themselves.
Yeah, and I talked to Nick Belmonte after the game. He called the game for ESPNU. He's a friend of mine from my Florida days. And he seemed to think that if, somehow Indiana swept, Rutgers and made a deep run in the Big Ten tournament, that they still have a shot of hosting, as one of the 16 teams. So you could be playing for that as well, possibly, if you go out there and you play well, even if you come up a little short on the Big Ten title, to get a chance to host a first round regional certainly would be big for the Hoosiers.
Yeah, because you look, even though the last two games they've lost, the one with Michigan was against Michigan, the Big Ten leader, and they had already won the series, and it took them 11 games to lose that game, and that was on the road. And then last night, of course, you're dealing with a top 7 team in Louisville, a team that's definitely going to be hosting. Then that game goes 12 innings, and you were down 6-0. So they certainly didn't hurt themselves. That they could have helped the RPI wise with some wins, but from the eye test. They certainly passed with flying colors. You had a great piece this week on the gambling, the new gambling law for Indiana that passed. And since then, Iowa has passed a gambling law of their own, although, as you pointed out, there will be no gambling on college sports. But the biggest issue seems to be the prop bets, the potential bets that everybody can be just popping up on their phone during the game.
Yeah, and I think there's a concern there from some of the athletic directors I talked to, Fred Glass, Mike Babinski, about potential manipulation, making it a little bit easier in terms of say if you have a prop bet on a basketball player, the number of shots he takes in a game. That's something that could be really easy manipulating without affecting necessarily the final score per se. But of course, you could, if you're the best player on a team and a lot of people are taking the under. What happens there? And it could affect your team in a negative way. While financially benefiting a kid if it would get to him. So there's a lot of ins and outs to it. I think I find it also interesting that they're very concerned about mobile wagering, but in a way, mobile wagering you could probably track the betting patterns a little better. You could track, individual people that are, influencing the lines in certain ways. So there's some pros and cons to everything. But, the Indiana Gaming Commission is still going to have to sort through this. And they haven't necessarily made their final proposals as far as regulation yet. So it'll be interesting to see between now and July what they institute as far as, how it will go about. And I think they're looking for September and right in time for college football season in the NFL, right, to kind of launch this out.
Yeah, a lot of ins and outs, a lot of facets, as the dude would say, a lot of moving parts. Also, yeah, anytime I can invoke the dude, man, it's did, and you did it right for me. Thank you very much.
Yep.
The lottery last night, the NBA, the Zion sweeps. A lot of people thought maybe going to New York and New Orleans with only a 6% shot comes out winner of the Zion sweeps as of right now, unless that changes. But he didn't stick around long after that was announced.
Yeah, no, it's in New Orleans. It's going to be interesting. And if you're the Pelicans, you're in an interesting spot because you've got a trade asset in Anthony Davis. I mean, you could either keep Anthony and Zion together, but you're kind of on borrowed time with Anthony Davis, or why not maybe trade Anthony Davis to the Knicks, right, and get the third pick, and then you have the first and the third, and can really kind of build a young super team potentially for a long time. I'll be curious to see, or maybe trade it to Anthony Davis to another franchise that has a high pick. You could do either or, and really kind of create this young super team. And New Orleans, I mean, it's an interesting dynamic down there because it's a Saints town and it's a college football town, and they've never really quite warmed up to the NBA, even though they have a transcendent player in Anthony Davis. But maybe this draft changes that. Maybe Zion Williamson changes that. Although we probably thought Anthony Davis was going to change it too, and it hasn't. But maybe if you build the right team around him, that's a competitive contender and playoff contender every year, you might have that shot.
Absolutely. A couple other things. Romeo had talked about. He was quoted saying that he'd played with a torn ligament in his thumb, and he hopes to get the cast off before the draft works out. But I'm not gonna. I don't want to be a naysayer, but a lot of that has to do with the draft. They're trying to get out in front of that. The fact that he shot the ball so horribly, and want to try to get to the NBA people that make these decisions. But I think that's something that's got to be borne out on the court rather than telling people what went on with that. But and I noticed that the Boston, everybody kept talking about trying to get Brad Stevens back into the college game. He's got 3 picks and then 3 number 1 picks coming up, number 14, 20, and 22. So I don't think Brad Stevens is going anywhere.
Yeah, he's got a good shot. He may lose Kyrie, probably will lose Kyrie, but then you get a chance to kind of build around, teams. And it's very interesting if you take a look at the college coaches that have gone to the NBA, and that's obviously been a topic this week with John Beilein, going to Cleveland. But, you take a look at Brad Stevens and Billy Donovan, and 2 guys that have gotten to the playoffs but haven't quite gotten over that, that conference finals hump. And, you take a look at Brad Stevens this year with Kyrie, you take a look at, Billy Donovan with Russell Westbrook. If you have that one superstar, you've really got to get him to buy in because he can alter anything that you're trying to do. And I think we saw that in both cases. And I really thought the Celtics, when I watched them against the Pacers, I thought Kyrie had bought in, and I thought that they were, they looked really impressive in sweeping Indiana. But sometimes you do run into that, one insurmountable superstar in like Giannis, who really no one with Boston can match up with, and that's why Milwaukee had the best record during the regular season, and that's a big reason why they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. And sometimes that one transcendent superstar that you can have that's bigger, like LeBron James for so many years with Cleveland. It just makes it so tough in the NBA.
Some news out of the NCAA. Muppet Mark Emmert and the NCAA is looking at how its rules can be modified to allow college athletes to be compensated for their names, images, and likenesses. Although they're not paying players, they want to point that out, which cracks me up. Such a everything they do is so hypocritical. They can't do anything without just not being transparent. I get so off topic when I start talking about them, but that's a good thing for the players if they can get that in that direction for certain. But it's how does that not just benefit certain players, whether it's football or basketball, and leave others behind?
Well, I think the NCAA caught a lot of heat with the Katie Ledecky situation, even in swimming in Stanford a few years ago, and that created a little bit of a stir and changed some public perception. But I'll be fascinated by this from the standpoint of, say, if you're a school like Kentucky or Indiana or Alabama that has a really fervent fan base in one sport, or Indiana basketball, Kentucky basketball, and you do autograph shows, does that create a inherent recruiting advantage over a state that doesn't have, as fervent a fan base? I'll be curious to see how this shakes out, or if there's some regulation, or if it's just kind of the Wild West. But hey, it could benefit Indiana basketball if you think about it, in terms of the fact that you've got this really great fervent fan base, and they would show up for autograph shows, and they would be able to charge more, for players to do that. So, what kind of life that takes on, we'll be curious to see how it gets regulated. But knowing the NCAA, they'll try to come up with something that will create some competitive balance. But I'll be curious to see. Maybe the free market wins out.
Yeah, that's something that Romeo did quite often, and especially in his senior year in high school. I think he did it before then, but it really stood out his senior year. He would be after games for minimum of an hour, if not longer, much longer, with lines signing autographs, and of course those were were free. But can you imagine if he was getting paid for every autograph he signed?
Oh yeah, no, it could be through the roof, and for this region that's a basketball passionate region, you're not seeing people lining up for signing autographs for basketball players in Florida. Now maybe you would for football players. That'd be a different animal down there, and in the SEC. But basketball wise, in this region, it would I think it would be a big boon.
Yeah, and you bring up the perfect point because there's no way that it is not would not be a recruiting advantage. But also but even so more, bring it in a little deeper, is there could be some issues within the team though, because now you're looking at potential jealousy of guys on the team that are making money. You're not making money because you're not as well known, or you don't play as much, which that's life. Don't get me wrong, that's life, but are they ready to do that at the collegiate level? That's going to be the big question. And of course, the sheer fact that the NCAA and Muppet Mark Emmert is involved, it's going to be a catastrophe. They can't do any damn thing right. So how in the world are they going to do this right?
Yeah, and you make it a team event. I think that's probably what you do is, maybe that's how you limit the jealousy factors. You have everyone on the team go. Now, so lines might be shorter for some people than others, but at least you have the whole team there. I think that's probably how you do it, rather than having an individual, have the whole team go to certain places and allow them to go. But hey, listen, it's part of life, Jim. We all know, some people are rock stars and some people are grinders and workers, and you accept your role that way.
Yeah, we're talking with Kevin Brockway, IU beat writer for CNHI Papers. That's right. If we were doing an autograph session, you'd have your long line, and I'd have Jake standing in line for me. So it would be just Jake is shaking his head. No, yes, you would. You'd have to be, man, just for moral support. But no, yeah, that's going to be a sticky wicket, man. It's just like the gambling. There's so many changes have come about. I mean, the NCAA is talking about this. You've got beer sales coming. You're already at a lot of schools. Beer sales coming to Indiana University next year. All these changes that are happening in collegiate sports. Gambling. Now you got sports gambling in Indiana. That's a lot of stuff to happen at one time. Usually that stuff phases in. It's like, boom, it's all happening at once.
Well, I think it's generational, and I think it's the case of them having, colleges also having to look at the marketing aspect, having to look at the fact that you've got the Big Ten network, you've got now every college, the ACC is going to launch a network. So you have so many games on TV now, Jim, that you didn't have 10, 20, 30 years ago. They've got to do creative things to get guys in the seats because college attendances are declining in football and basketball throughout the country. That's a trend because it's so much easier to sit at home and watch a game, and and you've got better TVs now. You've got these flat screen TVs, these digital TVs where the picture is so clear. You've really got to make an effort and do things to get people to sporting venues. And I think schools are starting to realize that. And that's probably the beer debate too, is, about selling beer is getting people in the stadiums. And, a lot of studies are showing that if you serve alcohol in the stadium, as crazy as it sounds, you actually reduce the alcohol related incidents. And I think the reason why is you probably reduce the tailgating a little bit outside the stadium, where you can have a lot of excessive drinking and fights and problems. But if you bring it into the stadium more, I'll be curious to see how it goes in Indiana. But maybe that will be the case there too, and maybe you have a situation where you have more people in the stadium during games and less people tailgating outside.
Absolutely, and don't forget they'll make a few bucks on all that as well.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure it'll help. Although I know Frank Glass said in the statement that some of the money is going towards alcohol education events and so forth. But there'll be a little bit of revenue that they can generate, and it'll help the programs. And it could possibly maybe buy a few more football helmets.
Well, they could certainly do it. Indiana's revamping their football locker room, so they can put it towards that to try to get up with the times as well. But Kevin, I appreciate you, brother. Look forward to doing it again soon. Thank you for coming on. Hope you enjoyed the game last night, and I'll see you back out at the ballpark on Thursday.
Yeah, Rutgers, the mighty Scarlet Knights, should be a good way to close out the Big Ten schedule and see if they can, somehow get a little magic and maybe get a share of the title.
Absolutely. It'd be a good one, Kevin. Thank you very much, brother. Look forward to it. I'll see you on Thursday.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin Brockway, the IU beat writer from CNHI Papers, joining us as he does each week. We moved him up this week to Wednesday. Maybe we'll just move him there permanently. Who knows? But hope you've had a great day. We'll be back with plenty more tomorrow. It's been a great week already. We will continue on. For Jake, I'm Jim Coyle, and coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Beat. I'll see you on the radio.